We have an opening song named Come Sing a Song With Me. There are 4 verses, and I believe it'll be on the screen. So if you would like to rise where you are, if you would like to stay right where you are, whatever you would like to do, let's try singing this first song together. Come sing a song with me. Please be seated.
Good morning. I'm Ken Boysworth. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, a servant of this congregation. I think. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice, also as we fondly refer to it as UCUV. We are a welcoming congregation, no matter your color, your creed, ability, or class, no matter who you love, or your gender expression, political affiliation, or religious belief. We have no creed or dogma. We have our shared covenant of 7 principles, which we hold as strong values and moral guides. The first principle we feel probably is the most significant, that being to respect the inherent dignity and worth of all people. If you'd like to know more about this congregation and its many opportunities for learning, growth, and connection, you can peruse our calendar and our announcements on our Facebook or on our website, uucov.org. We hope you'll find something in this service that speaks to you and maybe lifts you up or challenges you in ways that lead to spiritual reflection and growth. We're privileged that you've chosen to join us today. Welcome to the church. Do we have any first-time visitors brave enough? If you just tell us your name and where you're from.
Oh, my name is Joe Omansky, and I live in Englewood, Florida.
Welcome, Joe.
Thanks.
If the ushers will please bring the baskets out for this morning's offering to be collected. Each month, we take up a special offering for a social justice or a social action organization here in our community. Last Sunday's collection went to the Good Samaritan Pharmacy. Our total was $862, which is being matched by the Flanzer Trust, which will result in $1,724 going to pay for drugs for those who are less fortunate than us. If you're joining us online, please consider navigating to our website. Click to the donate button there and give as generously as you can. After the service, we have a coffee hour, or a coffee visit. If you're new and you're interested, and we hope you are, check at the welcome desk, and they'll be able to give you some more information and insight as who we are, what we do, and hopefully you join us. And our service will begin with our settled minister, Khleber Van Zandt, the guy with a black mask.
Speaking of which, first of all, I don't think you mentioned the Christmas Eve service. Ken, is that correct? That's all right, I'll mention it. Christmas Eve this year falls on December 24th. That is this Friday night, I believe, and at 6 p.m. we will have a Christmas Eve service in this space, to which you are very much invited. So the choir will sing with us, be lots of music, lots of stories. This Friday night at 6. Also, the Board of Trustees this week has said, all persons, regardless of vaccination status, are required to wear CDC-approved masks whenever you're indoors on campus. All persons, regardless of vaccination status, are required to wear CDC-approved masks when indoors on campus. I'm not wearing one because I'm trying to talk. But I hope, we have had lots of masks. We still do have masks. Eileen, come forward with the mask. There you go. We have masks if you would like one. So there you go. We expect that this masking and unmasking will continue to be in flux for some time. We have been back in here since June. We were masked at that point, then we were then we were masked, then we were not, now we're back again. So we'll see what the health and civic situation becomes over time. And now the prelude begins our service. call to worship this morning comes from Mother Teresa. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, able or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing, a lifelong sharing of love with others. Let us worship together this morning. Our hymn is number 226. People look east. I invite you to rise up as you are willing and able. Have a responsive reading. It's found in the gray hymnal at number 654. Comes from Ralph Helverson. Deep in ourselves resides the religious impulse. We have religion when we stop deluding ourselves that we are self-sufficient, self-sustaining, or self-derived. We have religion when our hearts are capable of leaping up at beauty, when our nerves are edged by some dream in our heart. We have religion when we have abiding gratitude for all that we have received. We have religion when we look upon people with all their failings and still find in them good, when we look beyond people to the grandeur in nature and to the purpose in our own heart. We have religion when we have done all that we can, and then in confidence entrust ourselves to a life that is larger than ourselves. From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue. Please be seated. Our children still have their own religious education class by Zoom each Sunday at 10 a.m. If you would like to attend there or help your child to attend, login information can be found on our website at uucov.org or on our Facebook page. Today we have two things. First, is Linda Underwood going to come forward? Linda Underwood will come talk about our gratitude tree, and then we have a quick video. So.
Good morning and happy holidays. I think most of you know that during December we've been having a gratitude tree sponsored by the Caring Committee. This is just a way of helping us all reflect and express what we have gratitude for. So I don't know if anybody has any gratitudes that they'd like to come forward with this morning, but if you do, this is the time. While people are coming up, I have one from someone who was unable to be with us today. Kathy Avery, our Director of Religious Education, asked that I put on the gold dove, origami gold dove. And she says, this is from Kathy, there are many people that have supported our education program, both youth and adult. Many meetings were run online during the quarantine. Now we have dual platform meetings. I have gratitude for those who have stepped up into a new digital world. Thank you to those that continued to share their knowledge and leadership. Thank you for your mentoring. Thank you for origami, coming of age, history, crossing paths, the book club, Plato's, suffrages, Socrates, and anyone who helped with technology or learned technology. She has gratitude for your interest in learning and sharing and doing. Thank you for all of our new programs. That's from Kathy.
So I was walking through the store a couple weeks ago, and I saw among the Christmas ornaments a Buddha, and I thought, well, that doesn't make much sense. It's turquoise blue and gold and sparkles on it, and I thought, well, okay, it made me smile and realized that I am grateful for accepting things I don't get and have to carry on anyway.
I'm Donna Jewett. I just hung up an ornament. It's a little sailor, and my husband was a sailor, and he passed away in August. So in loving memory of him and his 10 children that he fathered, actually adopted 7, we will be having a memorial service for him on January 8th here. Thank you.
Hi, I made this little reindeer to honor Judith Parker. I don't know if she's here today, but she just led our spirituality class, and we learned many things that spirituality can be even in the everyday mundane practices, which I found very helpful. So I love nature, I love deer and reindeer, and I love to bake things for my neighbors. I make little stuffed animals for my grandchildren, and so I made this little reindeer for Judith, and hope she can have it whenever Christmas is over. Thank you.
Good morning. I am so grateful for the love I've received over the generations from so many people in so many communities, and for the love that we share with each other in this congregation and to the congregation, and then for the love that we give out to the broader community. So this is my symbol that thank goodness I found it yesterday. It's the heart, of course. Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Van Camp, and I moved here from Detroit just about 2 years ago. And what I hung in the tree is a cardinal, because I thought I was bringing cardinals from Michigan here, only to find them here. They preceded me. I'm grateful for 2 things. First and foremost, I'm grateful for my soulmate, Catherine Thomas. We met down here, but we grew up 40 miles from each other in Detroit, went to the same graduate school of social work, but it took many, many years and many experiences to meet 2 years down here, and it's a lovely life with Catherine. I'm also grateful to participate in the coming discernment that we're going to have the opportunity to really, as Reverend Khleber said, to determine what are our glowing embers. How do we define them? How do we nurture them? How do we grow them? I come from a background, a lifelong community organizer. I believe that community is an intervention, and I want to work with the congregation as we define the community here and in the larger community. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Jean. I brought 2 decorations this morning. The first is a crocheted angel with a little halo that I hope that all of us have angels in our lives, all ages, all sizes. As Kendra referred to generations, the boots I'm wearing today come from one of my angels. And the second thing is some Spanish moss. I was out for a walk this morning, and it occurred to me that as it drapes the trees, what I saw was the way the threads of our life weave together, sometimes tear apart, but that it's a real symbol of the connectedness of the entire universe. And my final comment is, I know Christmas is red and people look really splendid today, but it's Florida. Christmas can be orange.
Thank you all who've participated in this exercise, this experiment. We will end this at the end of the month, but I thank you.
And continuing with our theme of gratitude, was sent actually a video from Susan Frederick Gray, who is the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, also was a youth in a youth group that I led many years ago. Susan is going to talk to us about gratitude.
Greetings, Unitarian Universalists. As we enter this season of holidays and holy days, we have an opportunity to draw our attention to what sustains us, to draw our attention to sources of gratitude and love. However you celebrate, holidays and rituals are an invitation for reflection. They remind us of our past, which can bring both joy and sorrow. But they also invite us to be especially attentive to the present moment. Practicing gratitude is a way of being intentional and taking time to name the gifts that surround us, to name what we are grateful for. And this reminds us of our fundamental interdependence. When I ask myself what I am grateful for, I think of those I love and the people who love me. I think of those who have shaped me and inspire me. I give thanks for the earth which sustains my life and all life. I give thanks for the blue sky or the rain, for the sun and the trees, for the wind in my face, for the life-giving water. Through this practice, we experience our fundamental interconnectedness, the larger embrace and web in which we are held. Now, a wonderful thing about gratitude is that it is concrete. We know what it is to feel thankful. On the one hand, gratitude is simple and clear. However, when we really foster a deep practice of gratitude into our lives, into our communities, into our cultural practices, we realize how incredibly powerful it is. Gratitude is a concrete practice that unlocks a generosity of spirit and a generosity of love, experiencing our interconnectedness, experiencing the ways that we are not isolated beings, but deeply connected and held by gifts beyond our own making. This inspires us to nurture more attention and care into those connections. So I am calling myself back to gratitude these days as a way of finding my own way through the enormous grief and exhaustion and struggle and fear that has been a part of our lives every day in the midst of so much tumult and the pandemic. A daily practice of gratitude has been saving me right now. And as I turn toward gratitude, I find my way toward more joy, sustenance, pleasure, and the gift of the present. And one of the things I am incredibly grateful for is all of you, and for this faith that we share, and that calls us continually to life, to love, to justice, and towards one another. May the rituals that mark this season of holidays and holy days, rituals in your family, in your home, in your community, may they bring moments of deep gratitude and joy and beauty to sustain and strengthen your spirit in all the days ahead. Blessed be, and love to all of you.
Now, if you've brought any celebrations with you to church this morning, I'll bring you the mic and let you share briefly, personally, and nonpartisanly. Exactly. Good. Celebrations.
To remind everyone that when we come here Christmas Eve for a wonderful Christmas evening, we're also having wine and cookies, and you're bringing the cookies.
Celebrations.
I'm just grateful that I'm going to be able to go back and see family for about 8 days and spend Christmas with them, which would be wonderful.
There's celebrations.
Hi, I'm Janet Knudsen, and I'm very grateful for the outpouring of donations to social outreaches collection for the homeless encampments. Thank you so much.
Dave, what I'm going to say. We went to Fort Lauderdale yesterday and watched the Venice Indians win the state championship. Yeah!
Is that nonpartisan? I'm not sure.
I would like to tell people that I went to the jazz concert that was held here, and I saw Pat Wellington, and this was put on by Lisa Frank, and I will tell you there are about 20 kids who are going to become master pianists. And I would like to thank her for doing that, and I would like to thank Eileen Leapley for being a great caring committee chair, because she certainly cared for me. And as she once said, you are not easy to work with, Rosemary. Well, then speak a little louder, will you?
Yes. Oh. Any other celebrations?
I was quite happy to learn that whatever my other UUCOV affiliations that I was free to join a second organization, and become a member. So Bev and I have decided today to join this organization, and I just wanted to share with you, in case any of you didn't realize, that you can do the same without violating your affiliation elsewhere.
Good. Thank you.
I just want to thank everybody who donated to the Rape Crisis Center and toiletries and handbags and put together, donated 12 items to the 100 that they were trying to collect, so thank you.
Celebrations. If you've brought any sorrows with you to church this morning, I'll bring you the mic as well.
My daughter and son-in-law just came down with COVID. We were planning to have everyone, all three of my kids, grandkids, everybody together for Christmas, but here we go again. So we'll work it out, but I'm glad to see that this congregation is taking it seriously.
Other sorrows. I'm aware that
this is more of a concern than a sorrow, but I hear you say every day if you would like your children to attend the Zoom RE. I look at myself and think about my children who cluster around the 50s. I look around the room and realize I am by no means in the minority. I don't know when in-person RE for the kids will continue, but when it does, I think this congregation, if it doesn't really start to attract young families, is going to be in a crisis fairly soon. And one of the ways that I would invite people to help with that, because I think while it may be a whole lot easier if we lived in a community that was young and progressive, one of the things that does attract young families, in my experience, is a vital YRE, one that has the complete commitment of the congregation. And so I just wanted to express that as a concern.
Thank you. Other concerns? I'm aware. I looked at the AV table, and this is going in and out. I don't see Tom Reeves back there because Tom called from home this morning to say that he is unable to be here. So Rich Canarelli has ably stepped in to help out in Tom's stead. I hope Tom gets better quickly. May the gratitude and celebrations among us this day become a blessing to us all. May the concerns and sorrows of each be carried in all our hearts, a burden shared become a load lightened. Now I'd invite you into a spirit of quiet meditation together as we begin with some words from the Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Marta Flanagan. Great mystery, known to us in the sunshine of an autumn day, in the dance of a flame, in the lingering embrace of a trusted friend. Help us to see the blessings of our lives with a renewed freshness of spirit. The loved ones, the ones we treasure for simply being themselves, the ones we laugh with, the ones who teach us to trust ourselves. We hold close those who are ill this day, those who feel the discouragement of the body, wishing them and us courage and peace. Help us to let go of our burdens, the memories of past times when we fell short, times when we were hurt. Fill us with a sense of gratitude for the gifts that are ours. Nudge us to give back and reach out, to share our time, our talent, our treasure, and ourselves with those who are discouraged or disheartened. Help us to pay attention differently, to be dazzled by the brightness of this day and with the miracles of life itself, that we might be filled with new passion and new resolve to heed a quiet call, to take a next step in peace. We lift up those in this community who face change, challenge, or loss this day as we hold within our hearts all who suffer. And now we pray, each in our own ways, into the silence. The hopes of this community are offered forth in the names of all those who've gone before and in the names of all those who will come after, in the names of all the helpers of humankind. Shalom, salam, amen, and blessed be. With families spread out across the country, the word holiday for me has most often meant driving. One holiday, my son John and I took off on a 1,200-mile jaunt to gather with other family. We started out in good spirits. Not too much traffic, no worries other than being a little concerned about arriving on time. You know, it was a nice time of year where we were to drive. A little fog in the early morning, and then what was left of some yellow and orange autumn color in the trees, and then became a bright, sunshiny day. For several hours, I marveled, cautiously, at the lack of traffic or highway construction that might have slowed us down. All seemed right with the world. But then we saw a few cars up ahead slowing down, and as we topped the next little hill, strung out down the highway before us, a thread of glowing red as far as the eye could see. Twinkling ruby brake lights, all bright and shiny. Merry Christmas. I hate waiting. So without looking at a map, I maneuvered the car around the line of stopped traffic, and I took the interstate's exit ramp to the freedom of a road less traveled. We turned right onto a state highway into a tiny town, and then a left onto a promising looking road. I had just started to congratulate myself that we'd done exactly the right thing when John piped up with, "Uh-oh, did you see that sign?" I said, "What sign?" And he said, "Well, it's just like this next one. A huge yellow diamond-shaped highway sign announcing bridge construction, road closed." "Yeah, the last one was just like this one," John said. Okay, breathe. Let's look at a map. See, there's another road just a little bit further out. Let's take that one. And that road turns out to be through a kind of a questionable neighborhood. Trucks up on blocks, farm animals out in the yard and chasing us down the street, potholes everywhere. It's not looking good. I'm a little more upset. But then, again, we're out of town on a state highway, opens up before us. Whew, that was close. About the time the next big yellow diamond-shaped highway sign appears, bridge construction, road closed, 2.0. So I'm a little more agitated, and so is John, and we look again at the map and we see we're going to have to go way that way before we can go anywhere that way again. That is, if we don't encounter any more closed bridges. So by this time, I'm feeling a little more pressed for time. Plus, we're lined up behind a little more traffic now because, of course, there are many other smart people like us who have had the same idea of bypassing that blocked 4-lane interstate. So complaining about everything, looking for state employees and institutions to blame for our sorry situation, we drive on through the country on what appears to be a state highway until the road turns rough, the rough turns to gravel, the gravel turns to dirt. Dirt flying, we can't see the car ahead of us anymore or the barbed wire fences on either side of us. I think the sun may be peacefully setting out there somewhere over the western horizon, but we can't see it because we're lost in a cloud of dust and recriminations, hurtling toward an uncertain future, scraping bottom in this oh so joyful holiday season. It's about this time that John and I look at each other and start to laugh. What is wrong with us? We're in a car that runs, it's full of gas, it's stocked with snacks, the weather's beautiful, what we can see of the surroundings are too, and we begin to see that instead of this being the worst situation ever, we can chalk this up to yet another in a long line of adventures. We're seeing parts of the country we've never seen before. And even way out here, miles and miles off what for us is the beaten track, the local residents have decorated their homes with all manner of holiday cheer. Maybe for their neighbors, but maybe just to raise the spirits of the lost and the desperate who are driving past in a tizzy. People look east, our hymn said this morning. People, calm down and just look. I tell you all this not to invite you to jump in your car and drive 1,200 miles, but to share with you that I, myself, personally, I'm not good at waiting. And maybe that's why I find this season called Advent to be so daunting, because it comes, ironically enough, right here in the craziness of the build-up to the holidays and the high season here, when one's sense of inner peace, one's sense of the eternal now, as much as anyone can ever achieve such a thing, it's under such devastating attack by social pressures and the forces of the consumer marketplace and, the personally felt need to get so many things done. On the calendar of Western Christendom, the period of the 4 Sundays before Christmas is marked as Advent, a term that comes from the Latin adventus, or ad venire, meaning to come, to arrive, to appear. Many Christians, I understand, think of this season of Advent as a period of expectation, a period of preparation for something to arrive, a period of waiting for some harbinger of new life, a new world, a new way of being. And Advent isn't only on Christian calendars, it shows up on many Unitarian Universalist ones as well. It was the late UU minister Jack Taylor who said, "If there were no Advent, we would need to invent one. We human creatures, in spite of all that has happened to us and been done by us, are still hopeful. Something new, something vital, something promising is always coming. And so we are always expecting." So Christian or atheist or Unitarian Universalist or none of the above, it seems like this time of year there can be a feeling that something is on its way. We're expecting something. The problem is, for me anyway, I'll be blind to its arrival if I can't slow down enough to see it, if I can't pay attention to what's going on around and inside me, if I can't learn to wait here. The Reverend Holly Whitcomb is a United Church of Christ minister, and she nails this pretty well when she says in her book, 7 Spiritual Gifts of Waiting, this: "I hate waiting just about as much as anything in the world. I won't eat at a restaurant if I have to stand in line and wait. I won't even approach a freeway entrance if there's a possibility I'll have to sit in traffic. This season of Advent, more than any other time in the church year, invites us to embrace the spiritual discipline of waiting. This season will not be rushed. The carols must be sung. The candles must be lighted. And every stage of our lives involves some new form of waiting." This focus on the idea of waiting may be especially pertinent this year because of the interim period this congregation is embarking on. My experience of interim periods is that it does indeed feel like you're waiting. A lot. Oh, a lot's happening all the time while you are preparing to search for a settled minister. But most of the time, as an individual member, no matter who you are, it can seem like you're waiting on somebody else to finish something else, and then waiting on the next person to do the next thing, and then you're waiting on the next person to do the next thing, and on for 2.5 years. That's a lot of waiting. If you're like me, it can be excruciating. And if you're like me, you can learn a heck of a lot about yourself and about the rest of the world. But back to Advent. In our own traditions, we often quote the Unitarian educator Sophia Lyon-Fawes, who said, "Each night a child is born is a holy night." But there are also the stories about the birth of that one baby born to that one young woman 2,000 years ago. And I've been thinking about a moment in that, I would say, admittedly mythical narrative that isn't normally linked with the waiting of Advent or the coming of Christmas, because in my mind it happened so long before the birth. It's a part of the Christmas story that I think most UUs don't pay attention to much at all, maybe because it sounds so unreal, it sounds so extraordinary, it sounds so unbelievable. It comes way back at the conception of the story, so to speak, 9 months before Christmas morning, to be exact, back when the narrative says an angel visits Mary and announces that she, among all others, has been chosen by God to carry the Christ child. The teenaged Mary can't wait to hurry over to her cousin Elizabeth's house to share all this good news, and when she gets there, she bursts into a song that has become known as the Song of Mary, or the Magnificat. The song begins with words something like these: "My soul doth magnify the Lord, and my spirit hath rejoiced, for he hath regarded the lowliness of his handmaiden. Behold, from henceforth all generations shall call me blessed, for he that is mighty hath magnified me, and holy is his name. My spirit hath rejoiced." Now, I don't know how often the majority of us Unitarian Universalists get to feel that sort of ecstatic gratitude for anything, really. You know, what a revelation to know in the depths of one's being that one is loved that much by whatever it is that is larger than oneself. I wonder, though, if we ignore the Magnificat and its part in the Christmas story, not because it sounds so mythical and unbelievable, but because it makes us so uncomfortable to feel the love of the universe quite so deeply. As legendary, unhistorical, unbelievable as this conception story may be, the late British-born, Ralph Waldo Emerson-inspired, naturalized American poet Denise Levertov obviously thought about those very first mythical and mystical moments of Mary's waiting because she wrote about them in her 1987 book, Breathing the Water, this in a poem called Annunciation. This was the minute no one speaks of, when she could still refuse. She did not cry, I cannot, I am not worthy, I have not the strength. She did not submit with gritted teeth, raging, coerced. Rather, consent illumined her. Aren't there annunciations of one sort or another in most lives? Those moments when roads of light and storm open from darkness in a man or a woman, but are turned away from in dread, in a wave of weakness, in despair, and with relief. For ordinary lives can continue. But the gates close. The pathway vanishes. In my experience, Denise Levertov is right when she says that there are annunciations and announcements of incarnations of one sort or another in a lot of lives. I've seen them. Maybe you have. Most messages that something is about to happen, though, I think we turn away from in dread of the changes they portend. And we do so with a great sense of relief that no adjustments need be made in our already well mapped out lives and our oh so important travel plans. Our ordinary lives can then continue without interruption, without change, but also without transformation. That way we can drive on using our own well-worn maps and believing most earnestly that we do in fact know, that we can in fact control where it is we're headed. Now, perhaps you think of a lack of patience as the indulgence of much younger people. The older I get, the more apparent it is in my own life. Maybe that's why Jack Taylor thought he needed Advent and why he thought if we didn't have one, we'd need to invent one. I think I need a season of Advent to teach me to wait, to teach me to notice the path I'm traveling, to teach me to listen for those still small invitations, whether they be invitations to pause or invitations to adventure. Blessings to you and yours as you travel your paths this holiday season, and blessings on this congregation as you embark on an exciting and educational, excruciating, and transformative interim period. So may it be. Our last hymn is I believe this is a pagan ditty, is it not? Deck the halls with boughs of holly. So I invite you to rise up as you're willing and able. benediction comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 16. Keep alert, stand firm in your faith, be courageous, be strong. Let all that you do be done in love. Go in peace, walk softly on your paths, and may the light of love shine on you all your days.